Need for Speed Rivals is beautiful on the PS4. It looks amazing, runs well, feels well, and overall is a really good game. Although the open world car thing that EA has going on really hasn't changed, and it's starting to kind of overstay its welcome. But besides all that, in general, this game is really good, and I recommend it for anybody wanting, to get a new game on their new console, and you don't even really have to be a racing fan to like this one. Now that you got your new console, you're wondering, well, how does Need for Speed look, as in graphics wise? And it looks really, really, really good. I mean, just take a look for yourself. The game's weathering effects are really good and really add to how really, really, really good it looks. And really, really good isn't even the extent of how mind-blowingly awesome the graphics can look. You'd be riding down the street and all of a sudden it starts to rain, and now the road is wet and your car is filled with water. Well, it's not technically filled with water, you would drown. But there's water on your car and it's hitting your screen, and then the sun flare through the trees, and it's snowing, and it ends up being really epic. I mean, sure, there are versions of the Xbox 360 and PS3, and they look fine, but the next-gen graphics really make this game prettier. Well, it makes sense that it's on the next gen, but it's just a different experience if you're playing this version compared to the other versions. And surprisingly, the biggest candidate of how pretty the game looks is its backdrop. It's gorgeous. Every single section of Redview County is eye candy and different to look at. Racing from one side to another, you will experience, the open highway and the desert, then to the mountains, and then to a forest area. It's expansive, and it's very different, and it looks really pretty, and depending on where you are, you will control your car different, and depending on where you are, the weather effects will look different, and it just flows and is really, really good. Need for Speed Rivals is not made by Criterion, and Criterion is made famous for its crashes, but Ghost does a pretty decent job of holding up the crashes. Although the Need for Speed games made by Criterion didn't have the same crazy chaotic crashes that they're known for Burnout, crashes are still very pretty to look at, but Rivals' crashes kind of pale in comparison. Yes, the crashes compared to other games, they're like Forza and stuff, are awesome. Your car will flip out, or you will hit a car like I did, and then shockwave it right afterwards, and it flips right in front of you. And it's really cool, and you're like, whoa, that car just totally flipped over there, bro. And it just feels awesome. But there are those crashes every once in a while where I'm doing a turbo and I kind of hit the rail in a way the game didn't like, and my car kind of didn't stop or flip over or go in the air, Burnout style. Kind of flipped around the screen, ran one side, then to the other side, and then decided to teleport halfway across wherever and flip out, and I'm like, what's going on here? Did not like those crashes. They just seem silly. I mean, sure, Burnout crashes aren't serious, but Burnout crashes, the car hits, the door flies off, your car is destroyed and explodes and looks really awesome. But sometimes the crashes seem silly, or just you crash and your car kind of does something. Yeah, Need for Speed isn't known for its crashes, but when you're hitting a car and you're smashing it and EMPing it, you want to see it flip out and go crazy. It does, but doesn't flip out and go crazy as in Most Wanted or in Hot Pursuit or in Burnout. In Burnout, come on, Criterion or Ghost or whoever was in charge of that. I want to see the car that I'm hitting just totally get wrecked. You don't get to see that as much. Maybe it's the hillbilly in me just want to see things explode, but it really is cool when that happens. Need for Speed Rivals does have that feeling of, whoa, that was really cool. Just not as much as in Hot Pursuit or in Most Wanted or Burnout, where you're like, oh my god, that was amazing. But all in all, the crashes are really good and really good. Next is car customization. I mean, the racer customization is okay, I guess. You can't totally trick out your car with spinning rims and LEDs and all that shenanigans, but you can paint your car, edit some decals. Sadly, you can't have decals and stripes or overlap decals, sadly. So it's kind of limited. I mean, Most Wanted and Hot Pursuit didn't have really any super customization, so it's a good change of pace to have your car rocking a Rogue sticker or having racing stripes, and it's really cool. You can also, help out your car in performance by giving it performance perks, as in more acceleration or better endurance and strength. And that's really cool. Lets you pick a car that you really like, maybe not as good as the next car above. So, pimp it out with some sweet acceleration and turbo things and paint it black and have gold rims. Then, you're ready to go, and it's just as good as the other car. So if you don't like that other car, trick out your other car. It's really, really cool. Sadly, only racers have this. Police officers, you get the car, it comes in black and white is your color. You can't change it. You can still give it, I guess, a license plate, but you can't really trick out your car because the cop cars already are overpowered. So there's really not much you can do to it. I would like to see, I guess, better color schemes for black and white. I don't know. It just seems weird being able to trick out your racing car to go in a hot pursuit on a cop career and not having your swaggy little car. If you didn't already know, Need for Speed Rivals is an open-world racing game, as was the last installment, Most Wanted. Although Rivals' open world isn't as populated as Most Wanted. Although it's a good break from the big metropolitan area that was Most Wanted, there's not enough stuff to do. Most Wanted had billboards that bared your friends' faces when he broke through and jumped higher than you did. You just had to go and back and break that billboard because that billboard was yours, as for it should be. It's your billboard. You want your face on that, not your friends. I hate you, Layalog. That was my billboard. I can never beat you on that jump. I hate you. But, you gotta sacrifice some things, I guess. But there's not enough jumps either. Not enough jumps, or speed cameras as was in Most Wanted. There's 2 or 3 jumps, but you kind of run into the same jump over and over and over again. And although the races are fun enough to actually go back and do those jumps and stuff, the hot pursuits really just steal the show. So you'll be mostly doing hot pursuits and racing around and head-to-heading other cars rather than, just exploring the big world. It's just really you racing all the time. And I don't know. I kind of want to explore. There's a bunch of shortcuts, but there's really nothing to see. It's just you racing around different paths. Although it is really fun to do, you kind of expect more from an open world than what is given. One cool part of Need for Speed Rivals is, the head-to-head. You go right after Need for Hot Pursuit, so you're like, okay, I finished a Hot Pursuit, and you see another racer. You're like, hey, I bet you I could beat you if we went from point A to point B. And he's like, yeah, sure, I'll race you from point A to point B. And then you just hit L1 to any random racer, and then boom, you're racing right after Hot Pursuit. And while you're in that race, cop can come by and be like, yo, I don't like you two racing, so I'm going to try to bust you. It's really cool that just driving around and you can just race every racer and get points from it. It is really cool than riding around point A to point B to do event A and then event B. They can get repetitive. So you're just riding around, boom, random cop. Or boom, random racer. And then just stuff happens. And it's really cool how the action never ends until you get to a hideout and customize your car. It is really, really cool. As you know, Need for Speed is about speed. And Criterion, was the really coined the open world racing game. They did a really good job on Paradise and Most Wanted, and now that they're passing the torch to Ghost, you gotta kind of see how they did. The one thing that kind of fails to capture in Need for Speed games that they've made is really the sense of speed. Yes, Need for Speed Rivals gives you more of a sense of speed than a simulated game, or, you know, other Need for Speed titles like Run, gross, ew. Need for Speed, really, really fast, but it just does not have the same feel that Criterion's Burnouts ever had. Same with Ghost. You feel like you're going fast, but it doesn't feel like you're going Burnout fast. That's just a little tiny nitpick, but, you know, after playing Burnout, you know, kind of would like to see more things Burnout-esque in my Need for Speed games, because Burnout was really good. The other thing, too, is the car damage. It kind of feels like sometimes either you can't destroy a car as fast as you want, and it's like hit, EMP blast, I don't know, spike strip, shockwave, and then he goes down. When in Hot Pursuit and Need for Speed Most Wanted, it kind of felt like you hit a car a couple times and then it would be destroyed and looked really good. I guess it's good because when you're playing online, you don't want to destroy another car, but if you're playing another racer, it would be nice to dumb down, you know, their hit points, only so that when you're destroying, it's a bit more chaotic than it is already, because it kind of feels like sometimes it's like slam, slam, slam. It's just another tiny nitpick, but hey, it's a review. I gotta tell you the little tiny things. Also, what I don't like is really 6 players in one world kind of sometimes doesn't seem like enough. I know there are 6 players around the world, but finding them is really hard unless you're just playing with friends. It's good that you have online integrated with your single player and it's seamless and flawless, but I can't really find them as much, and you'd be riding around, maybe see them, but then they're already doing their own thing, so you just gotta pass them up. Kind of be nice to have more than just 6 racers, but you know, it's another thing. Next is sound and content. The sound, well, it's exactly what you expect from a racing game. Every car sounds ready to go. The engines are roaring, the tires squeak on the floors, and the crashes are crashes, and they just, you know, sound really good, albeit they don't look as good as Burnout crashes. Just saying, Burnout fanboy here. But hey, the cars sound really good. The whole game sounds really good. Turn off the soundtrack and just listen to it. Beautiful. And then the soundtrack. It's another tiny thing, and it's just my opinion. But when I'm racing around, the last thing I want to hear is a song sounds rapish or ghetto-ish. I mean, when I think of a racing game, I think of rock music and techno music. Some of the soundtracks in this game make you think, why would I want to race to this? Who races to this music? I don't care. I just want something upbeat and just I mean, I'm not saying the soundtrack is bad. There are a lot of songs that I really liked on the soundtrack and downloaded myself because they were really good. And then there's the other songs, which I just skip over every single time because I'd rather listen to the 4 songs that I really do like. And sometimes I just end up unplugging or turning off the soundtrack and listening to music on my phone. Because better racing music, please. I don't want to listen to rap, yo. When I'm racing down the street, I don't want to be hearing your freestyle and stuff, because I'm racing. I don't want to hear rap, Eminem. Christ. There's no Eminem, but I'm just saying, I can't think of another rapper. With the content of the game, I mean, what you get is a full package. It's a full game, and has a lot, and it will keep you interested for a long time. Even after you complete the main stories, you still have to max out your level, and you still have a lot of speed lists to complete. Even if you do complete all those speed lists, you can just ride around or redo speed lists. It's really fun. You don't have to play this game religiously every day. It's not like, something you can super get good at or play professionally, but you come back to it and you'll just have a blast. Pass around the controller with your friends. No split screen, sadly. So it's just fun, and you get a lot for your money's worth. So that's a really good thing, that this game can be played for hours and hours and hours, and it's a good 60 bucks. It really is a good 60 bucks, and I'm really enjoying it. Although I have been nitpicking and saying that the open world isn't as full or as good as Most Wanted, it still is really good. Seriously. If you'd never played Most Wanted or Paradise or Hot Pursuit, you know, the game will feel that much better to you. It's something new and different, and you don't have to be a racing game guy. I really don't like racing games, but Criterion, just that name, I love their Burnout games and their arcadey style feel and Need for Speed games that they've made, because they're just fun random havoc, and I've gotten really good at racing them. It is serious fun, and if you've never played one, I really say that you should pick this one up if you can. Or if you just want to play Need for Speed Most Wanted, there you go. It's really good too. Or Paradise. Paradise, maybe not, just get Most Wanted, but get Rivals. If you have a next-gen console, want a racing game, but you know, you don't want Gran Turismo or Forza or whatever, don't want to wait for Drive Club or Crew, just get Rivals. It's really good. It is a fantastic game, and I totally, wholeheartedly tell everybody to play, because I'll be playing. All in all, apples to apples, oranges to oranges, papayas to papayas, Need for Speed Rivals is, well, great. Fabulous. Fabulous. Pretty. Sounds great. Feels great. Maybe not the soundtrack doesn't sound as good, but really it's awesome. Its charms may wear out if you've been playing Need for Speed, Most Wanted, or Paradise, or Hot Pursuit. Well, you know, it still is just as good as those, and is a good sequel to what was already great. It's more of what you really liked, and that's not a bad thing. Although it's not fully made by Criterion, Ghost has it down pat, knows what they're doing, and more games like this wouldn't be a bad thing on EA's part, since they're notorious for making bad decisions. SimCity Always Online, not fixing up Battlefield. Yeah, good job, EA. But really, what does it come down to? Is Need for Speed a game you should get? Definitely! Especially if you haven't played any of the other ones I've mentioned before. Its experience is just awesome and is fun and chaotic and just a good romp to enjoy. It's awesome. So, out of 10 Shockwave car flip-outs, I give Need for Speed Rivals 8.5 Shockwave car flip-outs out of 10. I'll be seeing you guys on the road on Need for Speed Rivals on the PS4. So, race on and stay nutty.